Hello there, and welcome to Fans Discussing Fandoms. My name is Patrick.
My name is Tim.
What are we talking about today, Tim?
Today, we are going to be talking about Creature Commandos. I have watched it. Patrick has
Excellent.
watched it.
Yep.
So, we're going to talk about it, basically give a review, give you the good, give you the bad. At the end, summarize with, is it a good first step for the new DCU? Spoiler warning for the show overall. And yeah, so let's go character by character.
Yep. Sure.
Amanda Waller, Viola Davis,
Mhm.
is amazing as always in this show.
Yeah. I feel like something that they captured is that they captured the classic Waller that I feel like I expect, and I also feel like they captured some of her, what is it? Her confidence that can lead her astray on occasion. Like she's not perfect, right?
Yeah.
They still captured like her intimidation, like her presence.
Yeah. And then Clayface as well. He was a nice surprise, which was a part of the twist in the show. But he was basically there for one fight scene. But we know Clayface is confirmed to be in the DCU. But besides that, I think visually he looked really cool. I like how they focused on making him look monstrous in the show
Mm.
and making him look big, bulky, and like a clay monster. So that was cool. And then also him fighting was really cool because he, shape shifted his hands into hammers and he sent tendrils of clay at Rick Flag and Frankenstein who fought him. They let him use his power set, which was really cool to see. What did you think of Clayface?
I think he was like he did his job. I think he did pretty good. They depicted him as I expected, in a good way. They also kind of I like that they added in his overconfidence in
Yep.
overplaying his role. At least I've seen a few times where when he's playing role, he can overact a little bit, and which has gotten him into trouble a few times.
Yep.
Just like the way he broke, he didn't even care about this character when he was impersonating the person while in the classroom.
And then Cersei as well. Cersei's weird for me, I feel like, because visually, both her look and the look of her using her magic is great. It looks cool, it looks epic, it looks magical, and she has a really cool, like, witch outfit going on. So that's all great. But I do find it weird because two reasons. A, in the beginning of the show, she is there to kill the princess. But for some reason, she doesn't kill the princess. And you would think someone with her power level and with her power set would be able to just blast away a human into ashes within 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But she doesn't. She just throws her around the room, and it's like, Cersei, why are you playing with her? You're here to kill her, kill her. So that was weird. And then the second thing I found weird is after she gets captured by the squad, she just disappears after that. Which it's like, okay, maybe they threw her in jail and she's rotting in prison, and that's why she's just gone. But I do feel like it's kind of weird because of how big of a player she is just within the world of DC and how big of a player the show kind of portrayed her as in the first couple episodes. I do find it weird how they just threw her aside in the second half of the show. So
Yeah.
those are the two things I find weird with Cersei. But other than that, again, she looks great. Her magic looks great. What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, like, I was expecting someone getting hit by an energy blast, just like, you know, at least have like a burn mark on them, or like to,
Yeah.
be having a part of their of them missing.
Yep.
Um, I felt like that was, considering the show is very not PG, that was very PG use of her power,
Yep.
to say the least. But also, like, Yeah, no, she definitely felt nerfed. Like she felt like I felt like there are other ways that she could have gone about her task too. I will say, I feel like her character was a little lacking of the other characters. Like they built up other characters pretty well, but I feel like there's some things missing from her that I wanted.
The princess is the overall threat
Yeah,
of the show. Cersei is the red herring. A gorilla is also a red herring, I guess. But the
yeah,
princess is the main threat. And I think as a main threat, she's fine. The voice actress did a great job with her. I liked how she looked visually. As a overall threat, as someone you're supposed to fear and someone you're supposed to recognize as the main threat, I think she was a bit lacking because she didn't really do anything drastically bad or sinister
mhm.
that you look at her and you're like, oh, okay, she's the big bad, she's the big threat. It was just she played the innocent card, and then at the very end, it's like, oh, by the way, she's the threat, and now she's dead. It's like, oh, okay. I feel like because of that, she was kind of lacking and a bit disappointing as the big threat of the show. What about you?
Yeah. I don't know. I couldn't get a like a full read of her. Um,
Yeah.
I feel like they really portrayed her as like I don't know,
As the
like
good
she
guy.
could be like as the good guy, she could be bad. There might be something underneath there. She has potential for bad. I think she kind of did her job, but at the same time, and this part will go into spoilers, but like I didn't feel satisfied.
Yeah, because you get that vision of, for example, her killing the Justice League, and you're like, oh, wow, okay, so she must have like some
For these
big
spoilers.
hidden superpower that we're unaware of, or some big secret project that she's working on that we're unaware of. But then you don't get anything like that, and it's just she kills Nina, and that's it. Because of that, you're supposed to be like, oh, she's a big threat to the world and she's a big threat to superheroes. And it's like, but she isn't, though, because she just gets shot 2 seconds later. So that's the princess. I thought Rick was good. I liked his look visually. I liked how he played the soldier, basically, like the good soldier amongst all these villains and criminals. He's the one good soldier who's morally right and trying to do things right. I think he played that very well. And again, visually, he looked good. I liked how he had some also fun moments with the princess.
Oh,
And
he had fun moments.
he did. Overall, I think he did a good job within the show. What about you?
I think that he did a good job. The way they wrote his character, I think I liked it because I was disappointed. Not disappointed in the writing, just disappointed in the character. No, am I disappointed in him? Because I was disappointed in him when I thought he was making a mistake. But then I was like, wait, but he's on to something. And he's actually investigating, so he's not being dumb.
Yep.
So I think they did a good job.
Next, let's talk about Weasel. Weasel, I think it was very fun in the show, and he had some very fun moments of him just being basically just being a big dog, a big violent dog. They gave him some fun moments with the princess and with the squad. I also think for me, he had the best backstory. I honestly don't have any negatives about Weasel. I think just Weasel was just great throughout the entire show.
Honestly, he might have been one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
I think I really enjoyed the way they portrayed him. I also feel like they like the funny moments in the show are good. So I think I enjoyed the funny moments. Even Frankenstein funny moments, like setting aside what I wanted from the character, I think his funny moments were still good. Good? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. Good. But I think I enjoyed the funny moments they gave Weasel.
All right. And then probably one of my favorite characters in the show, GI Robot. He
Yes.
was so good.
Yep.
Visually, he was great, but then his whole thing of just constantly being like, "Where's the Nazis? I want to shoot Nazis. Are you a Nazi?
Are
No,
you a
okay. Are
Nazi?
you a Nazi?" Like him just constantly trying to find Nazis and shoot them
That
was
sounds like what a
so
Nazi would
good.
say.
Yeah. And then him talking to Nina, being like, "Will you shoot Nazis with me one day, Nina, friend
Hmm.
Nina?" And just that was so good.
Yep.
And then I forget which episode it is, but the moment where Rick was like, "These are all Nazis," and GI was finally given the chance to just light them up. And the smile on his face, thinking he was just lighting up Nazis, was so good. I hate that
Yeah.
he died in that moment, but it's fine because he comes
Yeah.
back as the Iron Giant at the end. So that's
Yeah.
fine. He was great. I like his backstory as well, seeing him in the woe, his woe buddies drinking with them. And then also, I liked about him when we saw his backstory and him basically living throughout the ages, we saw a tease for the Metal Men, which means the Metal Men exist in the DCU, which is very exciting for me because I really like the Metal Men. So that was cool. Yeah, overall, GI was great and phenomenal.
Oh yeah. Probably my favorite character aside from Weasel. Like I very much enjoyed like I think he had the best moments in my opinion, just like constantly being obsessed with Nazis, wanting to kill Nazis, and I'm like, why hasn't anyone said like his enemies are Nazis yet? Like I was expecting someone to take advantage of that. And then you see Rick Flag going like he asks, "Are they Nazis?" And he's like,
Yep.
"Yes, they're Nazis." And the laugh that he laughed while like shooting all of the all I guess not soldiers, all the like ragtag team of gunmen.
Yep.
That was great.
Next one is Dr. Phosphorus, who, for me, is my favorite character beside
Oh,
GI Robot.
yeah.
But he, I think, was great. He had a good backstory.
Yeah.
I take that back. He
No.
had a fine backstory.
You don't think his backstory was great?
Not compared to the other ones. I feel like his backstory was kind of very basic compared to the other ones, but that's fine.
Maybe.
But he was very fun. He was very violent, which I like. Like Clayface, they let him use his power set
Yeah.
against people, which was really cool to see. He was a bro to Rick Flag, which was so good to see.
Give him like 30 seconds. Wait, he's an old man. Maybe like 1 minute.
Yeah. And then besides that, I also like how he was a dad in the show. And I
Yeah.
like how he had that moment with the kid, like throwing the kid up into the air, reminding himself of, his own kid before they died. So that was cool to see. But then the best thing I think regarding Phosphorus is visually, whenever he had a fight scene, specifically, I think maybe the first fight scene it was, between him and Rick Flag, my god, visually, his fire looks amazing.
Yep.
But yes, I think Phosphorus was great in the show. What about you?
No, I think I really enjoyed Phosphorus. I also knew I'm like when I'm watching this, I'm like, this is probably Tim's favorite character. Like it very
Yeah.
much gives like something that Tim would like. I like that he really used his powers. Like you actually got to see him use it. They also explains why a walking radiation man isn't giving people cancer, and also the
Did
fact
they?
that he's more or less. They said like don't spend too long beside him or else you'll get a headache. But otherwise he's harmless. But that also comes from like the control of his own power.
Yeah.
The fact that he's not affecting other people around him. And I also like how like in his fights you could see yeah, man's a walking fire. Like you touch him, you get burned. But I enjoyed his character. He was fun.
All right. Next one is the bride, who was basically one of the main characters of the series.
Hmm.
And I liked her. I liked
Yeah,
how she was the bruiser, and I liked the friendship they built up between her and Nina.
yeah,
And she had some good fight scenes. Like, I liked her fight against Cersei. That was cool. I liked how she kind of had a bit of no nonsense attitude as well.
yeah.
Overall, I liked Bride, and I liked her character. What about you?
Yeah, I think overall I did like her character as well.
And then the last member is Nina, who, again, I think she was very good. I liked how she was kind of the innocent one of the group. I liked her relationship with the bride. Her backstory was good, but I don't understand why her dad died. I think her dad dying and
Yeah,
getting shot makes no sense. And I feel like that was just there purely for shock value. Because he wasn't like punching people or
yeah,
like forcing his way to Nina. He shoved one person and then calmly approached Nina and like talked to her for a good 5-10 seconds. And then he
yeah,
just randomly gets shot in the back. It's like, why? He wasn't doing anything. Why did you shoot him?
yeah,
So I don't like that, and I think that's very dumb.
yeah,
But other than that, I think her backstory is fine. I think I liked her death as well. Anything Suicide Squad adjacent, a member of the squad is always going to die permanently. Because, that's the whole premise of the Suicide Squad, which I know this isn't Suicide Squad, but this is basically Suicide Squad without the bombs. So I liked how, again, a member of the squad did die. And I liked how it was the innocent member and the kind hearted member of the squad who took the bullet and died. So overall, I think Nina was very good. How about you?
No, I think that her character was very good, and I think it was pretty well written. I was very upset by the fact that they killed her, but in a good sense. I feel like the way that they killed her and built her character up made me feel attached to the character, right? And
Yeah.
I experienced what I should have experienced, should have being what they wanted, which was very distraught at the fact that she died. So I think that her death was made sense. I think that I agree with you. There were questionable deaths in the show where I wonder, like, is it necessary for like at some point I felt like there was like so much death that it's kind of losing its impact, with the exception of
Yeah.
Nina. The gore that was in there, it made sense for the show, like people die and all that stuff. But I feel like there was so much death that it was kind of losing its value to me. It's like, okay, another person dies and all that stuff. And his death, like her father's death, just you're right. It really didn't make sense to me. I'm like,
It made
why?
no sense. Like,
Like,
if he was like shaking her and like
yeah,
trying to carry her away, sure, shoot him. Makes sense. But he was just calmly talking.
I know that they intentionally added a part. If you notice when you're watching it, the one officer looks at the officer who shot the father, like, why did you do that?
Yeah, but calling it out doesn't make it
Yeah,
less dumb.
it doesn't
Like,
make it less dumb. It's like, okay, well, it's one thing to like the fact that they're doing something stupid and they're capturing Nina, right? That's dumb on its
yep,
own. That's how I feel. But then you shoot a random guy that goes up to her to talk to her. Like, yes, he shoved his out of his way, but why are you drawing your gun? Shouldn't you be like
yep,
pointing a gun at this creature you're so afraid of? Why are you shooting a person? I don't know. I felt really dumb that he died. Like, he didn't need to die. If he was more aggressive and he like tried to fight them off, like let her go, free her,
yep.
then him being shot makes sense. But he stood there for like a solid 10 seconds talking to her.
Yeah,
And aside from that, though, I think that her character makes a lot of sense. And I appreciate her character's presence there because it adds like a human, like really the human nature that you kind of expect. There is the sociopathic end of the spectrum where someone who goes through all this trauma is going to be like, and then put in prison. is going to, be sociopathic. And then there's the person who kind of just shuts down and, tries to be a people pleaser and accepts it, go with what is given to her or given to them. And that's what Nina did. So I feel like it offered a really human approach from like character perspective. And I think that she was pretty well written.
So yeah, so that was the Creature Commandos squad. Overall, I think they were all great and they were all written well and all that. So those were the characters, I guess. And then the other big thing I wanted to mention is the final episode. So the final episode is, the squad is going to kill the princess because they think she's going to start World War III. And firstly, she does something really dumb where she goes swimming despite her knowing she goes
Yeah.
swimming in the middle of an enclosed forest where, lots of places within the trees and bushes and water for her killers to potentially hide and sneak up on her. So that was really dumb of her. But then Nina goes in to kill her. Nina fails because she's bad at killing things. And the princess kills Nina. And you get a moment there of the princess like smiling and having like a killer's face on her face as she just shanks Nina. And I guess that was their attempt to show us how evil and brutal she can be.
Yeah.
But that's not really saying anything. And then she goes back inside. The bride explains her entire plan, explains how she seduced Flag, and she works with Clayface and all that. And then the entire build-up of the show leads to this moment. And, everything we've seen from her, everything we've seen from the squad, builds up to this final encounter between the villain and the good guys. And it's just the bride shoots her in the head.
Yeah.
And then they leave.
Yep.
And then that's it. It's like,
Yeah.
wait, that's it? So I feel like the final episode for me was very underwhelming. It was kind of disappointing because of moments like that. But what did you think of the final episode?
I think it was kind of dumb too. Like, again, went into the water knowing that one of them is aquatic.
Yeah.
And then I think there is something that they did show that makes you question as a viewer whether she could be bad or not, which was after she has that murderous moment where she kills Nina, you see her standing there like in shock of what she did. Like
Yeah.
they gave you time to look at her and look at the whole scene where she's standing like just to the side of the bride with like a face of like, what have I done? This is like just shock, right? Of
Yeah.
this just happened. I just killed someone. I almost died. Stuff like that. What also was really random to me was the fact that they were just free to walk around afterwards. Like
Yeah.
the princess knew that she was there to kill them, but then with the phone call, it's like, oh no, they're not going to try to kill you anymore. Why are they still walking around? Like, why didn't you put them in handcuffs, or why didn't you kick them out? Why are they okay to go around now? Is it because of Weasel? Maybe that makes sense.
Like, I get how she was dead at the moment, so she couldn't be like gods restrain them.
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel like because of the gods they have killed and the fact that they did try to kill the princess,
Yep.
they shouldn't just be freely walking around.
Yeah, they literally killed other guards to get there. At the very least, you'd think she'd be more cautious. Like, she increased security, but then she's just like, oh, okay, your orders are gone, so it's fine. You're probably not going to kill me anymore. But, like, bro, like,
Yeah.
why are they. Also, why is she unguarded? Like, why is the door to her room, like to the princess's office, unguarded. Like, and her
Yeah.
guards are just conveniently like in a huddle off to the side, just like talking to themselves while they walk out after she killed the princess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It felt kind of dumb. Oh, this is another thing. We get all the build up for like her being evil and potentially maybe not evil, and like something needs to be done. Ends with a single gunshot and they walk away, and we don't get any clarification as to whether she actually was evil or not. Maybe you might say like the princess working with Clayface to potentially, most likely, impersonates the professor was a reason to believe that she is evil and is actually carrying out evil plans or whatever. But at the same time, there's nothing conclusive about that. Like, the bride says, like, points out her whole plan, right, to the princess, but there's nothing really conclusive. There's no real evidence. That's all conjecture. Like,
Yep.
she's making assumptions based on factors that she saw and like trying to string things together, but there's no real evidence that she is trying to take over the world and that she really is evil. The only thing you get is an ambiguously suspicious character who could have evil intentions, maybe not. They might just be really good, or and they might just be suspicious. Nothing really points out that they're really bad. And you're right, their Grodd wasn't there. Maybe in this future she was going to get connected with Grodd later, and that's how she's able to take down the Justice League. But at the same time, like, nothing points to her actually being evil. And also, let's say you kill her, right? Does that really stop this country from taking over the world? Like, is she the only person interested in conquering the world?
If anything, they just gave them a reason to
Yeah.
invade the US.
I'm like, okay, you guys are, when they were going about like the conflict, I'm like, you were literally creating a reason for them to start the war. Is this why she like declares war with the US? Because the US tried to, what is it, assassinate her? But then that doesn't get resolved, and she's just like, oh, you're just under orders. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But like, they could have
Yeah.
used that moment to be the reason that she declares war. Like, they tried to assassinate her, and then they're like, these people have tried to kill me. We're going to storm the US. Um, we will not be looked down upon as a country anymore, and have people step on our grounds or whatever. They could have used the assassination attempt for that, but they downplayed it. And then she just went back to her office like nothing happened.
Yeah, they downplayed and just hand waved everything at the end. I know also Clayface is also a weird choice to connect her with
Yeah.
because at the moment, other than killing Nina, the only thing we have that links her to being a big bad supervillain is Clayface, because she has a direct connection to Clayface, which she
Yeah.
never says, and Clayface never says. It's just one single picture of them saying hi to each other, which is not a lot, but I guess it's fine for the show. But Mo would have been nice, because
Yeah.
that could easily be taken out of context. But even her having a connection to Clayface isn't a lot, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because Clayface isn't a world ending type of villain. He's not out here trying to kill millions and destroy cities and rule the world. That's way above his pay grade. So even her connection to him, it's like there's not really a lot there. Because, for example, if switch that picture of Clayface out with Grodd, or Zod, or someone like that who is on that level, then it's like, oh, okay, that's dangerous because that's a big, bad, powerful supervillain.
Yeah.
That's dangerous that he is with the princess of a technologically advanced country. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, now I'm worried. But again, if it's just Clayface, who again has no interest in that kind of thing, then Clayface isn't bringing anything to the table other than just being able to shapeshift into people. Okay, so big question. Since this is the first official project of James Gunn's new DCU, do you think it's a good first step?
I'm going to lean towards yes, but cautiously. Because overall, I enjoyed the show. And I lean towards this being a decently good step, but also cautiously. And I say that because I don't like how some characters, namely Frankenstein, were depicted and just kind of used for comedic cannon fodder.
Yep.
Um, but as far as it goes for like the entertainment of the writing and like the show overall, I enjoyed the show. And if you look over some of the plot holes, it's something that kind of grabs your attention of this might be enjoyable, but it's cautious. I'm cautious because of the cannon fodder, and also kind of feeling the senseless like killing in the show. So I'm gonna slightly lean towards that. I enjoyed it, but
Okay.
that's like 55, maybe at most 60%.
I'm also cautious.
Yeah,
Positively, I like how this show got dark
yeah,
and had dark moments.
yeah,
Because of that, that shows that for the new DCU, they are willing to go that dark
yeah.
and to go that violent, which is a good thing for me. So that's a positive for the show. I think overall it is a good watch as well. Yes, it does have issues with plot holes, and I think it does discredit a character or two. That hopefully going forwards, those characters are changed for the better, like Frankenstein and Cersei to a degree.
Yeah.
Because again, I want her to be more powerful and smarter in her next appearance. So aside from those things, I do think it's a good overall watch and worth watching for the DCU. I do think though that, like you said, it did get a bit needlessly violent for me. So I am worried that that might carry over in certain parts in the DCU. So I do think overall it's a good watch. I like how it sets up the DCU with its characters and world building. I like how it shows how dark they're willing to go for future projects and future characters who, need that level of dark and gritty for them to, be accurate and successful. I don't think it's a necessary watch. Like, I feel like if you skip this and then start with Superman when Superman comes out, you wouldn't have missed anything. Because this show, like, by the end, I don't think it really does anything big or drastic for the DCU that, you have to keep in mind for future projects. I think it's very small scale, which works because it's small scale, and I think it does a good job at being small scale. But I think because of that, it is kind of skippable for the DCU. And if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to because you're not really missing anything for the greater DCU. But I do think it's worth the watch. If you are interested in a more violent show and you're interested in characters like the Bride, Nina, Weasel, Phosphorus, I don't know, voice acting is all really good across the board. Anything else?
I think that's it for me.
That was our thoughts on Creature Commandos. Thank you for listening and watching. Check out our other videos. We talk about a bunch of stuff, movies, video games, comics, etc. We recently talked about the Until Dawn movie, the Daredevil Born Again trailer, other things like that. Check us out on Threads, Spotify, Instagram, and here on YouTube. And thank you all for watching and listening, and we will see you in the next one.
Goodbye.